Board. Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission and Historic Landmark Preservation Commission for a joint monthly meeting of each respective commission. Today is Thursday, April 1st, 2021. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I am the Planning Director and the organizer for our virtual meeting. Before we begin our meeting, we would like to go over a few meeting guidelines to help navigate the system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We ask that members of the public and the press remain muted and off camera for the length of the meeting. As the organizer, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. Commission members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If the commissioner or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hand. As the organizer, I will call on them or their chairman will call on them before they speak by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners and transcript recording. All of our meetings are recorded, but video and written transcriptions will be made available to the public on the city website at a later date. Also note this meeting will be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. I'm working on that, it's not going right now. In lieu of public speaking during the monthly meeting, we requested all comments to be received by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. Comments were to have been emailed to j.edelsonsufford@kingston-ny.gov, hand delivered or placed in regular mail or in a Dropbox at City Hall. No comments have been received. All meeting materials, applications, supporting documentation, written comment may be found on the city website by going to www.kingston-ny.gov, and on the homepage, scroll down to the bottom under meetings where you see the joint meeting posted. Click the link for the agenda and you will find a universal hyperlink for all information. If at any time you have an audio issue, please send a text message to the following number, 845-443-0416. I will repeat the number again, but please be aware that phone calls will not be answered during the meeting. Again, the number to text is 845-443-0416. As the organizer for today's meeting, I reserve the right to lock and close the meeting, to reject anyone who has behaved inappropriately, or to enter into attorney-client conference if needed. On behalf of the Commission, I wish to thank everyone for their continued patience during this unique time and wish you and your family good health. I now call the meeting to order at 6:39 p.m. and I turn the floor over to Chairman Hayes Clement to introduce the Heritage Area Commission.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. My name is Hayes Clement. I am the chairman of the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission. And as I introduce fellow commissioners, if they could each raise their hand, that'd be great. Our vice chair, Bonnie Howland, Dean Barnes, and Kevin McAvoy. Thank you all for being here.
Good evening. My name is Mark Grunblad. I chair the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, and I will similarly ask members of that commission to raise their hands when I call their names. Hayes Clement, Kevin McAvoy, Andrea Putz, Robert Tonner. Right. So let's start with adoption of our minutes. Has everybody on Historic Landmark Preservation Commission had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any corrections or amendments to the minutes as submitted? All right, then I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved, Hayes.
Thank you, Hayes. I need a second.
Second,
Robert.
Honor. Yep.
Thank you, Robert. I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. And over to you, Hayes.
Do I hear a motion? Does everybody on the Heritage Area Commission, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of our meeting, the minutes of our February 24th, 2021 meeting? Are there any concerns, amendments, or issues to be made?
Hayes, this is Sue. I believe Abigail might be on by phone. Abigail, if you are on, would you unmute yourself by hitting *6? Maybe not. I thought that was her phone number. Okay.
Okay. Anyone have any comments or issues or amendments to the minutes of our February 24th meeting? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the February 24th, 2021 Heritage Area Commission meeting as was presented?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second by Bonnie Howland.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Any further debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. You want Heritage to go first on the next one, or
Yeah, why don't you take number 2 and first, and then introduce that, and then we'll just switch off back and forth. Mark, you can do number 3 and so forth and so on.
All right, the next item of business is an application for 10 East Chestnut Street, a repainting of the house in Benjamin Moore HC 172 Revere Pewter, trim and Benjamin Moore OC 17 White Dove. Ann Blasco, applicant and owner. Ann, are you here tonight?
Yes,
Can you just sort of walk us through what you want to do?
sure. I'm really just trying to do a complete repainting of the body of the house in one color and changing the trim to also, it's a white, it's a shade of white, one of the Benjamin Moore historical colors, rather than what is here right now, which I have a feeling did not ever go through your committee. I'm not sure when the colors were put on the house. Right now, it's kind of a pale yellow with a mint green, a sort of a muddy orange and white combination of trim. I think that simplifying the color palette is really gonna show the house in a much more, elegant presentation than what it is right now.
What are the window sashes going to be, Annie?
They're going to be the white, the white dove, yes. So all the trim, which includes the corbels, the columns on the porch, the soffits, would all be the white. And then really just the clapboard siding on the house would be the Revere pewter.
And the roof is what color?
It's a gray. It's kind of a gray.
Does anyone have questions of the applicant from the Heritage Area Commission?
I think it's going to look great.
Yeah, I think it will too. Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Barnes.
Second by Kevin McAvoy. Any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Do I hear a motion to approve the pink colors as presented by Annie Blasco for 10 East Chestnut Street, Clabbered Field and Revere Pewter, HC 172 by Benjamin Moore, and trim and window sashes in White Dove, Benjamin Moore OC 17.
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin McAvoy. Motion on the table. Any further debate on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
We're not done yet.
Let me,
Oh.
Michael Del Priore is here, so he can vote on the next one.
This one or the next one?
The next one, he wasn't here for the discussion. So now, Mark, you will take the vote for landmarks on this one.
Do any members of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have a question for the applicant? Yes, Robert. You need.
Annie, yeah, I got it. Hi, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be really beautiful. Yeah, on the picture that I have here, I can't tell, is the chimney and the fireplace thing, is that natural brick? Or is
Yeah,
that painted?
it's not painted. It's
Okay.
the original brick fireplace.
Nice. Are you going to leave it? You're
Pardon
leaving
me?
it? I'm sorry, you're going to leave it?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
Right.
it's in remarkably perfect condition for its age.
It's beautiful. Really nice. Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Anyone else? A question for the applicant? All right. I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
So moved,
Andrea.
Robert Tonner. Oops.
Thank you. And Andrea, would you like to second that?
I'll second Andrea Pugh.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. All right. I will move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed repainting of the house at 10 East Chestnut Street in the Chestnut Street Historic District by applicant and owner Ann Blasco, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work will take place at the 2.5-story wood frame house, historically known as the E.B. Newkirk House, situated between East Chestnut and Stuyvesant Streets on a hill overlooking Broadway, having once had a 3-story tower in the central projection that faces Broadway as its main entrance, and appearing on the 1870 Beers map of Rondout, Kingston, and Wilbur, and illustrated in the Beers Ulster County Atlas of 1875, having been built according to local historian Lowell Thing by 1866. That the proposed work will involve the repainting of the exterior of the house, body in Benjamin Moore HC 172 Revere Pewter, and the trim in Benjamin Moore OC 17 White Dove. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, and that the paint job will not detract from the character of the historic district or of the building, and that any changes or additions to the work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out, and that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the first day of April 2021, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice subject to the conditions contained in our foregoing motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Hayes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. And Ms. Blasco, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for your time, everybody. Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate it.
All right, I think Hayes, back to you for Hunter Street.
Okay, the next item of business, 125 Hunter Street, a proposal to make an addition to the house, new roof, repair and replacement of siding, foundation work, staircase repositioning, and creation of parking in the rear. The applicants are Michael and Joseph Frasca. Michael, Joseph, are one of you here?
Hi, yes, I'm Joseph Frasca here, and also we have our architect, Michael West.
Thank you. Want to walk us through what you're planning to do?
Yeah, sure. And Michael West, feel free to jump in here at any point. In general, the house that is there is completely gutted, and we're doing a renovation and rebuilding the two families that's currently there. And then also, if we get the necessary approval from the different committees, we would be trying to add an addition for a third unit in the rear of the current property.
And that would be a question for the planning board, right, Sue?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So we've been talking with Sue about this and as well.
So we're not, so the addition that would encompass a third unit is not what we're approving here, Sue, or we're giving an advisory opinion on it? How is
You're
that?
giving an advisory opinion, correct?
So sorry, so continue.
Michael West, is there anything you want to add to that?
Just that the addition that we have sketched up so far would be very much in keeping with the architectural style of the original house, and would just be an extension of that off to the back side of the property.
Yeah, and both for the addition and the renovations, exterior renovations to the existing property, it would be the exact same color and scheme and materials as what's there.
Mm-hmm.
So it remains sort of a rectangle, but just going back further.
Yes. Yes, it's a very long, narrow lot. So there's plenty of room in the back there for the addition that we're proposing.
Do you want to say anything about the cosmetic choices on the new roof, the siding, all of that?
Well, the siding that's there is an asbestos shingle. And for the most part, we're going to leave that exactly the way it is and just make repairs and additions where there's been damage.
It sounds like that it's not to the point where you've picked, sort of exterior trim details or colors, correct?
No, not at all. When the Frascas acquired this property, the previous owner had already done tremendous amount of demolition. The whole inside was gutted. There's very little floor left to walk on inside. So there's a great deal of restructuring that has to be done, and framing and partitioning, et cetera, before we get to the cosmetics. But we're very eager to keep it in keeping with the style and the character of the neighborhood.
So Sue, would it be fair to have a discussion and a potential advisory opinion to the planning board on adding the third unit, but to withhold any discussion or review of color and everything, other choices until they come back to that? They come back to us with that. If the
Yes,
subsequent
that would go for both landmarks and
okay.
commission.
So saying that if the applicants will come back when they're ready to discuss, detail and color choices, do any Heritage Area Commission members have questions of the applicant or Mr. West, just in terms of the addition of a third unit to this two-family property?
Yeah, I have one. I'm sorry, I was muted. What would the siding be on the addition? You're probably not going to use asbestos. So what would you?
No, definitely not. Well, none of that's really been decided yet.
Okay.
First of all, we have to find out if adding that addition is a viable plan. If it is a viable plan, then we'll flesh out all the details, have everything engineered, and start dealing with aesthetic choices and the rest of it. For right now, we just want to make sure that it's something that would be allowable in that zone.
Okay.
So this is an RT zone, the RT zone, Sue. Is expanding a 2-family to a 3-family pretty easy to do in terms of planning board approval?
I've had multiple discussions with the applicants already from the planning board's perspective. Our largest concern is obviously that the building conform with the site, and that off-street parking is another consideration that we've been discussing. And through the course of those discussions, they've been able to reduce the scale of the footprint or the size of the footprint, which does allow them to get some of the off-street parking. So the board will be asked to consider a waiver from that.
It looks like the new addition is actually going to be on, is it Union Street? What's the street right behind it?
I believe that's called German Street.
German Street.
But no, it doesn't go that far back. There's another property that's facing German Street.
Yeah, this is not
That,
a true lot.
Right. It
Okay.
seems to be a double wide lot that's owned by a lady who I was told is currently living in California or something. So there's no development on that parcel right now.
So it will be visible on German, but only because the parcel behind it is vacant.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then there's parking for the bus garage on the other side of German Street. So there are no residences directly across from there.
Any other concerns, Sue, that the planning department staff has?
No.
Any concerns that Heritage Area Commission members have? Do members of the Heritage Area Commission want to issue an advisory opinion to the planning board on this? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin McAvoy. All in favor of declaring this type 2 action under seeker? I'll call the roll. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to support in principle the concept of adding a 3rd unit to 125 Hunter Street as presented this evening, with the understanding the detail and exterior paint choices will be presented to the Heritage Area Commission in the future for approval?
Sounds good.
Do I
Yeah,
hear
motion?
McAvoy? Do I hear a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Michael Del Priore, second. Motion on the floor. Is any further discussion or debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
The ayes have it. I'll turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. Do any members of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have any questions for the applicant or the architect? Yes, Robert.
Just one question. So if I read it right, the 2 buildings are not attached. Is that correct?
They will be attached, yes. There will be an attachment that will create a fire escape area for the upper level of the new addition, and possibly even for the upper floor of the existing structure, if that's required. So there will be a connection between the 2 buildings.
There's a connection, but they're not going to be made to look. I'm sorry, I looked at this, but so they're not trying to look like one building, correct?
It will appear to be the kind of telescoping building that's frequently found in historic structures.
Mhm.
They will be connected together.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
I'm curious about the roof lines of the two buildings. Are they going to step down? When you describe telescoping, often there's a break at the roof line of the newer part of any structure. Is that envisioned here?
Yes, the roof lines won't come together directly. They'll both be gables, but they'll be separate, different heights, and slightly offset by about 4 feet. The new addition will be offset to the east. I forget exactly the direction there, but they won't attach directly at the upper part of the gable. The two buildings will be attached below the roof lines, just under the roof line of the new addition.
And how obvious is that going to be? I guess this is visible from German Street. I'm trying to get it.
Well, that connection I don't think will be visible from the street, either on Hunter Street or German Street. The connection will be between the two buildings in a way you really won't see it unless you're walking down the side of the building, down the driveway, and then you can see where the addition is being attached to the old structure.
Okay, so am I right to believe that from Hunter Street, the new addition will be almost entirely masked by the older structure, and it will only be visible from some point on German Street? Am I following this right?
Well, because of the offset, you'll see the new addition from Hunter Street. It'll stick out from behind the existing structure by about 4 feet. The width of the existing staircase that goes up the outer part of the older building.
Okay.
So it'll be offset by that much. So you will see the new addition from Hunter Street, and from German Street, you'll see mostly the new addition and not so much of the old structure.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from anyone on historic landmarks? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for declaring this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So moved by Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. All right. Any additional questions on the motion? Sue, again, this is advisory to planning board on our part as well here on the addition, and the applicant will have to return with detail once he knows what's happening with the property. Am I following that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear to all members of the board. And I hereby move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed renovations to 125 Hunter Street in the Rondout Historic District by applicants and owners Michael and Joseph Frasca, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work will take place at the 2-story wood frame house situated far back from Hunter Street between Ravine and Hone Streets, visible on the 1885 Burley Bird's Eye View illustration. A house at its location on the 1875 D&H Canal map may or may not be the same structure. The house does not appear on the 1870s Beers map of Rondout, Kingston, and Wilbur, and therefore was likely built between the years of 1870 and 1875. That the proposed work will involve an addition to the house to match the existing architectural features, creation of a parking area in the rear, and in-kind repair and or replacement of the roof, siding, foundation work, and a change to a staircase where it will be repositioned. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the renovations will not detract from the character of the historic district or the building, that any changes or additions to the work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out, that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I propose that on this first day of April 2021, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Robert. You're going to have to unmute and say so.
Second.
Thank you. I'll call the, any other discussion? I'll call.
I have a point of order, I guess.
Sure.
One question, we're doing a certificate of appropriateness, or are we just issuing an advisory opinion?
It's a preservation notice of action.
Right.
Right, rather than a certificate of appropriateness.
Okay.
We are, yeah, we're not giving a sort of final approval. We are passing this along to the planning board with the unusual sort of terminology that we are stuck with.
Yeah, okay, that's what threw me off there. I started hearing the boilerplate and it was like, okay.
Understood.
So we can put a, excuse me, this is Julie. So we could put a condition on it to come back.
Well, it states it, though it doesn't state it
already.
particularly clearly.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Julie, should I accept that as an amendment to the motion?
Yes, you should.
Okay, then we're first going to vote on the amendment suggested by Ms. Adelson-Safford to make a little clearer in here that this is an advisory opinion to the planning board and that the applicant must come back to us with additional detail. All right, I'm going to so move that amendment. Do I have a second? Thank you, Hayes. Whoop, Hayes beat you to it, Kevin. And I will call the roll on the amendment. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Now returning to the motion as amended, is there any further discussion? All right, then I will call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you. All right, Hayes, back to you for Fair Street.
Okay, the next item of business is 268 Fair Street, an application to remove single 8-inch aluminum siding and replace it with 7-inch hardy cement board. The applicant is Brian Hommel Home Improvement on behalf of the owner, Diamonds Fair Street LLC, and Rich Conti. Just so you know, this building is right across from the Firehouse Museum on Fair. It's where Coldwell Banker Village Green, the real estate brokerage is. Jason, are you here to talk us through this?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Jason, I'm sorry to interrupt. This Julie again. I just want to make sure everybody knows that I circulated the PowerPoint that Jason prepared
I did not see.
in the staff notes or in an email.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
My screen share?
Don't wanna be.
Oh, hang on, just lost it again. I'll find it. Hold on. There we go. Can everybody see the screen, the PowerPoint?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Sue.
Okay. Jason, you wanna?
Are you going to click us through or?
I can click it through.
Sure. I mean, it's just a single 8 siding that's up now. Typical aluminum siding. I believe it was resided in the late 70s is what I've gotten from the owner of the property. The color that we propose to put back onto the building is actually a light pearl gray with a white trim. So the white trim will be on the corners. The difference between the hardy siding and the aluminum has that flat, of course, metal look to it, whereas the hardy board is more of a, it has a natural look with a wood grain. So it actually looks more like a traditional cedar lap side. So the color is really not going to change at all. It's just going to be the aesthetic look of it and bringing it back towards more of a traditional look with the siding. The only difference here is that the homeowners or the property owners have decided to only side 3 sides of the building that are visible. It is right next door to a building that is very close, and they have decided to forego siding that side there of the building.
Jason, are there going to be any changes to the windows, window trim, that front extension?
So I'm not making any changes to any of that, except for the trim is just going to be a white trim that's going to go around it how it is now. It's going to be a hardy trim though, so that has some life to it and can withstand the elements a little bit better.
But like those brackets around the stoop and the front door, they're not changing?
No, sir. No, sir. Anything like that, that's aesthetic, corbels, designs, anything like that would stay and just be painted as so to keep it that white trim color.
Anyone on the Heritage Area Commission have questions for Jason about this?
Mine's a silly question. It doesn't look like you could even get into that 4th side to side it if you tried, unless you're hiring the very skinny people. It's not possible to get in there, is it?
It's possible. It's definitely a challenge. The concern would be next door. Those boards are very heavy. It's a lot heavier than a traditional siding, so it would be a challenge, but it definitely could be doable.
Just a question, what's on that side now? Is that aluminum sided also facing the other building?
No, unfortunately, it's not. So it is just the sheathing on the home, and then there is some tar paper that's been sealed up for waterproofing.
That was going to be my other question, because you're saying you're going from an 8 to a 7, whether it was going to marry consistently around the side. But if it's not, it seems like it's a non-issue.
Correct. Yep.
I'm good, Hayes.
Any other questions for Jason? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Bonnie Howland, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Michael Del Priore seconds. That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion of that? Hearing no objections, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve the proposal to replace 8-inch aluminum siding with 7-inch hardy cement board siding at 268 Fair Street as presented by Brian Hommel Home Improvement?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Mike,
Second.
second.
Michael Del Priore, second. There's a motion on the floor. Any further debate on this? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mark?
Thank you. Anybody on Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have additional questions for Mr. Volmer? All right, not hearing any, I will entertain a motion for declaring this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Thank you, Hayes, for the motion. I need you to unmute and say it. Am I correct, Sue?
Yeah.
Hayes Clement, so moved.
Thank you. Second? Robert,
Second.
you were Kevin beat you to it, I'm afraid. Robert, you were muted. All right, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote yes. All right, then I move that our commission find as fact that the proposed new siding at 268 Fair Street in the Stockade Historic District by applicant Brian Hummel Home Improvement and owner Diamonds Fair Street LLC and Richard Conti, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work will take place at the 1.5-story wood frame house located on Fair Street between John and Main Streets, closer to John, with its gable facing west, a structure appearing in its place on the 1858 JH French map of Ulster County, likely being one and the same, having been built before then and possibly retaining its original form. That the proposed work will involve removal of existing 8-inch aluminum siding and its replacement with a 7-inch reveal hardy cement board siding in light gray trimmed to be Arctic white. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the new siding will not detract from the character of the historic district or building, that any changes or additions to the work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the additional work being carried out, and that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this first day of April 2021, that our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein, and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. All right, any further discussion from any HLPC members? All right, then I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin? Oop, missed you, Kevin.
Yep. Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you. Back to you, Hayes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, the next item of business is 321 Wall Street. A proposal to install new signage, to wit, one 22-inch high by 20-inch wide hanging sign to face Wall Street, and one 23-inch high by 46-inch wide double-sided hanging sign mounted to the canopy. Applicant is Timely Signs of Kingston on behalf of the property owner, ARC-MH. And somebody, Tyson, are you here to walk us through this?
It's actually Paul Biker tonight.
How are you?
I'm well. Hayes, how are you?
I'm good. Tell us what you want to do.
Well, one of our clients, Corcoran Country Living, is going into this particular location. We've developed a sign plan that meets the Pike Plan guidelines in terms of the sizing, spacing, height above the sidewalk, and obviously the square footage requirements. It's fairly straightforward. The colors are pretty standard, black, white, and the brand color, which is that gradient band. Do you guys have any questions about it? It's a fairly straightforward application.
Sue, everything is up to snuff in terms of planning board regulations.
They meet the Pike Plan guidelines, so as far as they're concerned, it meets all code requirements. The insurance would be required, obviously, for overhanging the public right of way would be the only additional.
Do any Heritage Area Commissioners have questions of Paul? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Bonnie Howland, second.
Thank you. That motion's on the floor. Any further debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
And Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve the signage as presented by Timely Signs for 321 Wall Street with the provision that the city of Kingston be named as additionally insured?
Bonnie Howland, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Dean Barnes, second.
Dean Barnes, second. There's a duly made motion on the floor. Any further debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Hayes. Do members of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have any questions for the applicant today? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
I'm Hayes Clement. I so move.
Andrea Pugh, second.
Thank you. All right, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Okay. I move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed new signage for 321 Wall Street in the Stockade Historic District by applicant Timely Signs of Kingston and owner ARC-MH, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed signage for Corcoran Country Living will involve one 22-inch high and 120 inch wide hanging sign to face Wall Street and one 23-inch high and 46-inch wide double-sided hanging sign mounted to the canopy. That the signage will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the signage will not detract from the character of the historic district or the building, that any changes or additions to the signage specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to work being carried out, that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this first day of April 2021, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to our commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion and to the applicant obtaining insurance, naming the city as an additional insured in respect to the overhang as required by section 358-9 regarding projections and obstructions in the city's code. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any additional discussion from the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission? All right, I'll call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Back to you, Hayes.
Thank you, Mark. The next item of business is
Paul.
Ciao.
excuse me. Thank you, Paul. Next item of business is 55 West Chestnut Street, proposal for an addition to the back of the house that would incorporate a bathroom and a laundry room on the ground level, topped by an outdoor deck with adequate railing and access to the second floor. The applicant is Manish Hebar, owner. Manish, are you here?
Yep. Hi, Hayes. Yep, I'm here today. Thank you.
Good to hear from you. Walk us through what you want to do.
Sure. Hi, everyone. What I'm looking to do here is to add a 9x12 addition on the back of the house to replace an existing mudroom, and that addition would have a ground level bathroom. The house currently does not have a ground floor bathroom, so it's a half bathroom, and another right behind that half bathroom is a washer dryer and a sink. So it's basically a half bath and a laundry room, it's intended to have windows on it to let light in, and let more light into the kitchen from the back. The design is trying to stay with the design of the, if you look at the front of the house where the front door is, that same feeling of a white paneled wood. The base of the addition would be the same foundation, the stone foundation that's all around the house. And then it has steps that go down to the existing bluestone patio in the back. The upstairs, the deck area is currently being unused. In speaking with the prior owner, Lowell Thing, I understand that that there was a railing at one time on the back of the house on that level. That weathered away and was never replaced. So with this new addition, it actually creates would create a little bit of an additional area to have more of a deck. So I'd like to rebuild that railing and have a deck.
Manish, this won't be visible from the front of the house, correct?
That's correct, Hayes.
And
Yeah.
And the materials will be in keeping. It'll be wood clapboard siding again.
That's correct.
Okay. Any Heritage Area Commissioners have questions of the applicant?
It's looked very nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree.
Renovations, yeah.
I do have there might be other questions, but I do have one question is that I have two drawings of the railing. And I'm not sure if everyone saw that, but one is a cable drawing. One is a railing where it's cables. So I think it will be longer lasting because it'll be just, kind of a cable railing system. But the other one was a more traditional style which has a vertical railing. I know that the traditional style would be more in keeping with the house, but I fear that it would also require a lot more upkeep.
Excuse me. This is Julie Edelson Safford. Were you able to get a photograph of the railing from Lowell?
I was not. I'm not sure if he actually ever had it when he owned the house, but his what he told me was was that he had young kids and they didn't want to rebuild a railing because he didn't want his kids to go out onto the back at that time. So I'm not actually sure, Julie, whether it was actually there when he was being a historian. I think he had maybe asked about it, and it was probably had been years even before he moved in that it was actually there.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have any kind of point of view to share with Manish about the choice of railing? Again, I don't think this is going to be visible from the front facade.
That's
Michael?
right.
I don't have any problem with either choice. I certainly understand why he would go with the steel, a steel wire railing, and I think it even looks in keeping with that traditional architecture. That kind of railing, sometimes if it's in black, it disappears. So whatever choice he wants to go with, being that it's not visible from the street, it would be fine, should be fine with the commission.
Anyone else? Any other comments or questions for the applicant? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Dean Barnes, so moved. Do I hear a second?
Second by Bonnie.
Second by Bonnie Howland. That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion of it? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do I now hear a motion to approve the addition at 55 West Chestnut as presented by Manish Hebar and his architects with a choice, their attorney, with the choice of upstairs railing left to the applicant between spindles and the cable horizontal railing?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Mike, second.
Del Priore, second. It's a duly made motion on the floor. Any further debate on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
and Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Hayes. Do any members of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have a question for Mr. Hebar? All right, I'll ask. I'm trying to get a sense of change of size on footprint here. Does this fit within the footprint of that old mudroom, or Is it an expansion? It's not clear to me exactly how much of an expansion we might be looking at.
Yeah, so the new addition is 9 by 12, so about 100 square feet. And the existing mudroom is probably 30 square feet, so it's probably 3 times, about 2.5 times, I would say, the existing mudroom. So it's kind of an extension.
Mark, you can see it on the third page of the architect's plan.
Thanks. I just was having a problem getting a visual of the differential in size, but in either event, it is hidden by the main structure from Chestnut Street, is my understanding, and it's also not visible from any other streets in the neighborhood, if I'm correct. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I took some pictures to show from the very back. I went to Wells Lane and
Orchard Street.
Orchard Street, and took a couple pictures there, so you can see it's even hard to see the house from those streets.
Any other questions for the applicant? Andrea.
Just want to say it looks really good. I think if I had to pick as far as HLPC goes, doing a more traditional railing would probably be more appropriate. But, you know, and I love cable railing, but I think in this context, it probably makes more sense to go with a more traditional railing. I don't know how the other commission members feel about it, though.
Any other guidance or comment for the applicant from HLPC?
I'm totally okay on either choice of railing. This really isn't going to be visible from the street.
Robert?
It's not, I agree with Andrea. I mean, if there was a choice, I'd probably go with the one that, the more historic one.
Kevin, do you have a feeling one way or the other on this?
Yeah, I think if I had to go with the more historic, if I had a choice with the more historic one, I would go with that, but I don't have an objection. So, yeah.
Mr. Habar, you're tending toward the cable. Would you have an objection to moving to the spindles?
I actually haven't talked to, sort of figured out what's going to be the best from a, standpoint of strength and durability. It's just been my belief that I think it'll be more longer lasting if I do it, and maybe a bit safer if I have the cable railing. So I would err for whatever my engineer tells me is sort of more durable and more safe. If it's not going to be visibly from what I see, it doesn't. I would err on the side of more caution and durability. So if there's no objection to that, I think I would prefer the cable railing to go with that.
Knowing that, Andrea, does that make a difference in how you would approach a vote tonight?
It doesn't necessarily come down to, it comes down to the materials. It's not so much, if you use a wood railing, for example, it could deteriorate over time, and that could definitely present a safety issue. But if it's, for example, a steel guardrail all the way around, it's not going to go anywhere. Cable rail, they can potentially lose tension over time with the cable. If it's done correctly, probably less likely. But again, as far as the aesthetic goes, I know it's not going to be seen on the back of the house, so I don't have an objection to having the cable rail if it's your preference.
Robert, any commentary or guidance for our applicant here?
Yeah, what she said. Exactly. I agree with everything. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you can't see it, and if it's if it's what turns out to be the right thing, then absolutely, I have no objection.
All right. If I'm hearing everyone correctly, we are leaving the design, since it is invisible from the street, to Mr. Habar, as long as it remains invisible to the street. I mean, Mr. Habar, if you're going to put up like light posts that we would see from from Chestnut Street, we would be upset. But both of the ones you have proposed appear to be generally acceptable because it's in the back of the house. And with that, I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
I'm Hayes Clement, so moved.
Thank you. Hayes. Second?
Robert, second.
Thank you. All right, I will call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. And I hereby move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed addition for 55 West Chestnut Street in the Chestnut Street Historic District by applicant and owner Manish M. Habar, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures contained in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons: that the proposed work will take place at the 2.5-story colonial revival wood frame house with its central entrance facing east, once owned by local historian Lowell Thing, appearing on the 1899 Sanborn maps of Kingston, having been built sometime between 1887 and 1899 in the same location as an earlier house that was the first ever to be built on the north side of Chestnut Street in the year 1861, and which appeared on the 1870 Beers map of Rondout, Kingston, and Wilbur, and is visible in the Burley 1885 bird's eye view illustration. That the proposed work will involve an addition to the back of the house to add a bathroom and laundry room on the ground level. Above the addition will be an outdoor deck with adequate railing in either of the designs submitted, with access to the second floor. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the addition will not detract from the character of the historic district or of the building, and that any changes or additions to the work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application would be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. That this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approval from the relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the first day of April 2021, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein, and in his application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in that foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Andrea Pugh, second.
Thank you, Andrea. Any further discussion?
Mark, Dan Gartenstein has a hand up. I'm not sure if he has a question or not. Dan?
I'm sorry, someone has a question?
Dan Gartenstein has his hand up on his screen.
Oh, he's blacked out for me. So Dan, do you have a point that you need us to consider here?
I guess not.
I'm assuming no.
Okay.
All right.
No, there he is.
No, I have nothing. Sue, why did you think I have something?
Because your screen had the little hand, raised hand symbol on.
No, I'm actually driving, so my hand is certainly not up. I'm just listening.
Okay. Something got hit. I don't know.
All right. The universe will travel with you. Okay. Dan, you're going to want to black yourself back out. All right, thank you. Back to the motion at hand. It's been moved and seconded. If there's no further discussion, I will call the roll. Hearing none, I will do so. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Is it Habar or Hebar? What's correct?
It's Hebar.
Hebar, thank you.
But
All right, but congratulations, and they'll be sending you a notice of approval from both of us sometime in the next few days. All right.
thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time.
And thank you. All right, coastal consistency does not involve the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. Should we adjourn at this stage too?
Mark?
There's a resolution you guys have
There's
to.
one
talk about.
other item, there's just a resolution that's been provided to the HLPC members on a common council amendment, proposed amendment. It'll be referred at their meeting next week, their April meeting, so further discussion and will happen at next month's meeting with you guys.
All right, so does anyone have on our board have questions regarding this proposal that we want to get into at this point?
If I could just speak briefly with regard to the zoning proposal. It is going to be formally referred to you next week. I forwarded a copy of what is before the council. I also forwarded you the county's preliminary comments with regard to the issue. The county is pushing and very supportive of expanding opportunities for accessory dwelling units. The state legislature is in the process of adopting mandatory language that requires municipalities to remove impediments to accessory dwelling units. The council is trying to get ahead of that process. And I just wanted to confirm that everyone has received the proposed changes, that everyone has received the county's preliminary comments, and that you all familiarize yourself with the premise so that you can move on it at presumably at your next meeting. This is time sensitive to a certain extent. The council's process involves a number of months, but we just want to get the referrals out, and we want to get the material in everybody's hands, and we want to make sure that everybody has read it. If there are specific questions, anyone of you are welcome to contact in the interview to discuss the proposal. But this is something that will soon be mandating that all municipalities work towards, and it's something that is critical with regard to expanding housing opportunities within the city and furthering the county's housing plan.
All right. So we look forward to more detail and discussion.
That resolution,
next month.
sorry.
Pardon? You want a
Sorry, can
vote
you guys
on a
hear
resolution?
me? It's Julie.
Yeah.
Hi, Julie, go ahead.
I just want to let you know that in case anybody's wondering and didn't get a chance to see it, it's in the staff notes. There's the resolution and then there's an email following the resolution. That's what Dan is talking about.
Yes, and they're also available on the council, on the city's website as communications to the council. There are additional articles with regard to the state initiatives and with regard to the overall need for expanding housing opportunities through expanding accessory dwelling units. The proposal that's in front of the council would not in any way diminish the HLPC's authority to review specific proposals, or the planning board's opportunity to review proposals. I can tell you that the county is looking for us to even further liberalize the granting of approvals for accessory dwelling units. And my expectation is that their comments are going to ask for us to even eliminate the need for special permits for accessory dwelling units and to allow them to be approved on an administrative level through the building department. This again is something that is going to be moving statewide, and we're trying to get ahead of the process so that we don't have to rush to do it after we're mandated to. So can I just confirm that all the members, so does everyone have the proposal at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone does not, or if it's disappeared from your inbox, should we contact Sue or you directly, Dan?
If it's disappeared from your inbox, contact Julie to get a copy of it after you've reviewed it. If you have specific questions, I would prefer that you call me long in advance of the meeting because many of the questions that you're going to have, I'm not going to be able to answer in a public meeting, and I'd rather discuss them in an attorney-client conversation with individual members.
All right,
you all
thank
have
you
my
kindly.
number? Okay, good enough.
All right, so yes, Andrea?
Julie, I don't know if I got one. I've been looking in my email, but I'll contact you later.
Okay, I'll make sure I'll resend it.
It's a link, Andrea, on the staff notes that you got.
That's just it. I'm looking in my inbox and I don't see any staff notes. The last email that I got from Julie was on the 25th.
I sent them at 5:59 this evening, if that helps.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen
Okay.
anything. So
I'll send one to you.
Yeah,
I'll send it right now.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
And there's more information at the Common Council agenda for the upcoming meeting. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll look forward to, do we need to formally table this? I don't believe so.
No.
Okay, good. All right, shall I adjourn HLPC and let the coastal consistency review go forward?
Yeah, I just wanted to make the announcement that with Julie and Sue and the grant office, we got the underreported community grant in, and I believe we got the CLG grant in today. Yeah, so those are on the works. And Mark, I had a question for you, was if anything further had happened on the Temple Emmanuel.
No, nothing formal. I just made contact with Jeff Greenberg on it. It would have to go to a temple board meeting or two. And I, having served on that board in the past, I expect it to be a lively discussion, possibly stretching over 2 or 3 meetings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just going to make one comment with that, was the history of the congregation should be included. And there might be a little bit of history on the blue form from 50 of Beale Street. So that all of that should, you might want to consider that.
Right.
In addition to the mid-century modern aspect.
Absolutely, especially since it is the oldest Jewish congregation in the Mid-Hudson Valley. I believe it's 1861. I had to review that documentation when they underwent a name change about 5 years ago, so I have access to that. So thank you for mentioning it, Kevin. I'll bring that up to Jeff and the board.
I just wanted to mention that I was tasked with bringing the CLG application to mail it, and I went to the post office today, and in honor of April Fool's Day, they told me that the address was not correct for the post office, so I had to go to UPS. They accepted it there, and I'm sure you are too, and I'm sure you are too, Sue.
Dear. All right. Last minute glitches. Anything else that Historic Landmarks should address before we adjourn? Sue, Julie, anyone? All right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Hayes Clement, so moved.
I think Robert beat you. I'm awaiting a second.
Second, Hayes Clement.
Well done. I will call the roll. Andrea?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I agree. We adjourn by acclamation.
Oh, I should have said nay.
Then you could stay.
April Fool.
You can hang out, Andrea. That's fine. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, Heritage Area Commissioners, everyone is still on, correct? Yep. Okay. The next item of business is 188 and 200 North Street, a coastal consistency review. As I have in the past in discussions of this item, I am recusing myself from the matter, given a recent professional relationship with the applicant in a real estate transaction. So I'm going to turn it over to our Vice Chair, Bonnie Howland, at this point to lead this discussion.
Bonnie?
Trying to find the mute button. I lost it when my picture went over to the side. Okay, so on the table now is the Heritage Area Coastal Consistency Review of 188 and 200 North Street. I think we should have Joe and Kevin with us. Are you guys here?
Joe Ariel is on, and I saw Christina Duchamp. Joe? Okay. Joe?
I see them, but they're both muted. Joe and Christina, can you hear us? If you, there's Christina.
Hi, I'm here. This is
There she
Christina.
is. Hi.
Hi.
And I see Joe, but it looks like he's muted as well.
Joe is here. He was planning on doing the presentation. I'm sure I can help you if he's having audio problems.
I just wanted to know if one of you wanted to take just a 5-minute quick review of what's before us right now.
Sure. Do you want, can you share the screen if you have the documents?
Can you see?
I have
Julie has.
Christina, what I had. Can you see what the shared screen I have up?
I cannot see it, no.
Can other members of the committee?
Yeah, it's up.
It's up. Yeah, we can see it. It's the draft of the coastal consistency determination is up.
Right.
Okay, just 1 minute, sorry.
It's okay.
What I have up, Christina, is the form that the commission will go through looking at all of the individual policies.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up on my end. I'm not sure why I can't see it, but then I'll follow along with you.
Okay.
Hello, I'm sorry. This is Joe.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Good. I'm sorry. I thought I heard a motion to adjourn, but it must have been I'm listening to another meeting, so I apologize.
No, it was okay. The historic landmarks preservation part of this group dropped off, and the heritage area stayed together. They didn't need to be a part of this, so that's what you heard, which caused
There we go.
confusion.
Okay.
So you're not losing your mind. That
That's
happened.
good. That's good. Although either way, it's still interesting to have one meeting in each ear, but I'm going to turn off the other one now.
Okay.
So I apologize. Is there a question on the table? I don't want to.
No, it's fine. So we just started. Sue, I don't know if you can see, Sue has shared her screen with the draft of the Heritage Area Coastal Consistency. Can you see that?
I can indeed, yep.
Okay. I had asked, Christina spoke because it seems that Kevin is muted. I'm sorry, or Joe is muted. But we wanted to have a discussion, see if you guys wanted to take 5 minutes and do a quick review of what's ahead of us before we dive in.
Well, I wonder, I think that Zach and Christina are both on the phone from our team. They might be better at that quick review of what's proposed. Zach and Christina, are you on there? Can you unmute?
Christina couldn't see the screen, so she's currently trying to pull it up on her own computer for reference. And then you came in, that's where we were.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I think I think the proposal is fairly well known to the group. I'm not sure.
Hey guys, I figured out how to unmute here. All right, so sorry to interrupt you, Joe. I can go through a quick, if I have either control to share my screen or, yeah, that'd probably be the best way. I'll share my screen. I'll walk through the project, what we're presenting right now.
Sue, can he do that? Can you share if you're sharing? Do you unshare?
Hang on.
Then you have to give me some kind of permission, Sue, if possible, because I just tried to share my screen. It says it's disabled.
Hang on. And let me. There we go.
Existing parking lot, what we call parking lot E. A slight modification to a previously approved cabin location so that it can be ADA compliant. So it just needs a ramp going around it. 2 new bathroom spa buildings that were part of this application. No modifications there. And a restaurant. In an adapted reuse of a existing pavilion in order to use it as a seasonal restaurant. And that is and a very small linen closet housekeeping building that will just supplement the day-to-day operations of the hotel. There'll be linens and soaps and stuff like that in there. So that is pretty much, that is what we're submitting at this time. So please let me know if you have any questions, and otherwise I'll just let Joe take it from here.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to stop screen sharing so I can put the my stuff back up, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, everybody can see my screen now again?
I can.
Yes.
All right, okay. So this is the form that we're going to use to go through all of the policies that are enumerated in the adopted local waterfront revitalization program. The way the form is structured, we will read each individual policy. That's a generalized summarization statement. Some comments that I have added in are in the following, in the next column, and the last column will be where you would take a consensus of whether you concur with a mitigation measure or it is not applicable. You'll see where I've already determined my non-applicability is noted in the comment section. If you have read through this already, if you have any thoughts going through it, if you want any additional language, you don't agree with what I put in there. These are just some quick thoughts to initiate conversation. So I guess. Bonnie, do you want to start with the first one?
Absolutely. So policy number 1, restore, revitalize, and redevelop deteriorating and underutilized waterfront areas for commercial and industrial, cultural, recreational, and other compatible uses. So for recording purposes, Sue, real quick, do you want me to read your proposed comments, or we put after each development policy reading, we put it to a conversation?
I would ask the commission members, I mean, I just wrote some thoughts down. I don't know if the commission members agree. I mean, these are just my thoughts to just, like I said, start the conversation. I can change that up, I can add, I can delete. You have to let me know what you think. If you think, what do you think about the project, and does it, meet that policy description? If you have questions about the policy description, I have the LWRP open. I can, look at it in a little bit more detail if you'd like. But I mean, I think there's quite a few policies, so I think we want to go through these in a thorough fashion. Any commission members have any thoughts on this first one?
It looks like none.
No, it seems fine. I mean, well, we don't have to vote on each one as we go down.
You want to either concur, if you concur with a mitigation, that should be noted, or if it's not applicable, it gets noted.
So for these purposes, Sue, I would address each person from the commission to see if they concur with mitigation or have any further comments. Okay. So for this, for policy number 1, Dean Barnes.
I concur with the comments.
Michael Del Priore.
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Yes, concur.
All right, moving on to policy number 1A. I'm sorry, Bonnie Howland, I also concur.
Thank you.
Policy 1A, redevelop the formerly industrialized and mined areas of the Hudson River waterfront to include water-dependent and water-enhanced recreational uses and other compatible uses that will increase public access to and enjoy public enjoyment of this area.
1A. Yeah, I think it's noted in the comments about the public access plan. I'm just wondering if we want to make a comment with respect to the RFH zoning. I think it's 45-25C2. I believe that's it. And it makes a reference to an easement to the city for the, with respect to the public access. I'm just going to throw that out on the table for discussion. I can read it if you want me to read what the code says.
If you could, that would be great.
Okay. Meaningful permanent public access is defined as safe and unobstructed access to and along the dry, non-tidal or non-submerged shore areas for all members of the public to attempt to provide a continuous public access system to and along the waterfront and or public rights of way. Such access shall be in the form of a permanent easement or the granting of fee title to the city of Kingston. Access may be regulated by reasonable conditions in a management plan submitted by the applicant and approved by the planning board as part of the final site plan approval. And I don't know if Sue wants to comment on where they're at, from the planning board perspective. I mean, I attended the meeting, but I'm not, involved in any way with the planning board.
The applicant has submitted a draft of a public access plan, and planning board staff is currently in the process In fact, we have a meeting scheduled next week to work with them, work directly with the applicant to discuss that, hopefully revise it a little bit that we feel would be satisfactory to the planning board, and it will go back to the planning board. So adoption of that will follow with the site plan review in accordance with site plan.
So record is duly noted to that.
Right, so you
Okay.
could concur with mitigation being that the planning board adopted a public access plan. You got it.
Okay,
Okay.
so, sorry.
Well, would that, well, we won't know what they're going to do until they do it. But I think the question that came up, and it would probably resolve a lot of the comments that were made regarding public access if that section of the RFH zoning were included in that discussion.
Okay.
Sue,
Planning board.
Yeah, I mean, I would just do it as a recommendation to the planning board
Okay.
from this board.
Sue, this is Joe Ariel. I don't have, the applicant doesn't have any objection to a reference to the section. As you know, the conversation about precisely the form that all of this ends up taking is within the planning board's, ultimate discretion. And I would want to be careful about characterizing that language here. But I certainly have no objection, because I think the HAC is correct, that code section is applicable, and we understand it in the RFH zone. And if the idea is to make reference to that section, we have no objection to it.
That's the intent, Joe.
Great.
I have to get the exact code section. Hold on.
So Kevin, can you tell her the exact code section? You have 405 dash.
I think it's 405
25.
C2. 405 C2.
I got it.
Yeah.
405 25.
405 25
C2.
C2. Sorry. Yeah. The most
Yeah.
important part, we left it out. 405 25 C2.
Okay, so I wrote concur with reference to that section. That work? Plan. Does that work for everybody? Concurrence with the reference to the zoning code section 405-25C2 being part of public access plan discussion.
That looks good.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Bonnie, do you want to add?
Yep, I was gonna say, so Bonnie Helen, I concur with the note as referenced. Dean Barnes,
I concur.
Michael Del Plior,
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
All right, moving on to policy 1B, promote replacement of existing uses which detract from the Rondout Creek waterfront and which discourage more appropriate development in this area. It's not applicable. 1C, restore and revitalize the predominantly residential character of the historic Wilbur and Punganki neighborhoods.
I just have one comment about that, and it has to do with the zoning enforcement officer's letter, which I don't think we really want to discuss here. I don't know if that call falls within our scope. But I would just say that it's putting a commercial use in a RRR zone. That's the gist of what the zoning enforcement letter says, that it's more or less okay to do that. That has wide-reaching implications citywide for RRR zones, and that's maybe out of the heritage area's scope. What would be within the scope would be, I think, the excess traffic. One of the problems you have on Lindsley Avenue is spillover parking from Ulster Community Action. And when their lot is full, they start parking first on their side of Lindsley, and then they cross the other side of Lindsley, and you have all these cars parked there. And as you're trying to get up to the glamping trailer up at the top, you might have a traffic jam. And if that were to happen, I think you'd want to revisit the residential character and if this is consistent. I'm not saying it is now, but I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow, but I think it's a contingency that could happen. Not sure I even have the language to put that in, but do people understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I think I understand your comment.
Yeah.
I don't know that it fits into this.
Okay.
We could make, and it's not really, I don't know if this project is really going to make a change in that. It you know what I'm saying, Jim, what I'm saying. I mean, this, I don't know that it fits here. You're talking about traffic from an existing business that utilizes Lindsley Avenue currently to park.
Well, they're a community use. They're not a
Right.
business per se.
Right, but
So how do we move forward on this one too?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that's restoring or revital. I don't know that that's really a comment here. I'm trying to think of where it might fit in.
Yeah, I'm not pressing the issue. If it's, if we feel it's out of scope, it's out of scope. That's
okay.
Yeah, end the discussion there. I just wanted to,
But
make
it's
sure that
good
the
to
point
know
was
that
clear.
because that's a new fact for me too. I have not heard that before.
I think somebody brought that up in one of the public comments about, I'd have to go back into it and see who it was, but I think it's there someplace.
Okay.
So then does this fall under a concur with mitigation, Sue? If he's questioning the
Yeah, I mean, if I may, we did have a traffic study, and I think if I'm understanding the member's comment, we frankly share some concerns about some parking issues, even as it affects our project. But I think, and so we're not bothered actually that the issues come up, because I think we're likely to pursue that for some good solutions in general. But I think I'm not sure that it plays into this recommendation here. But we do appreciate the comment.
Okay, then you want to move forward?
okay.
Yeah.
So with that, then going back to this 1C, going around the room, Dean Barnes,
I concur.
Michael Del Priore,
I'll concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Yes, concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, I concur. Moving on to policy 1D, restore and revitalize the mixed residential and small scale and commercial character of the historic Rondout neighborhood, listed as not applicable. Policy 1E, restore, revitalize, and redevelop the area between the Kingston Point and East Strand along the Rondout Creek for commercial and recreational water dependent and water enhanced uses that will increase the public access to and public enjoyment of this area.
I think the comments that are there are okay. We might want to just reference what we did under, what was it, up top earlier. I think that was 1B.
On 1A?
Yeah, 1A. Is it
Got
one?
it.
Yeah, but this thing's oversized here. Do this. Okay, 1A, got it. It's, yeah, that's where we referenced it, 1A.
All right, so to note, Sue is going to put the note from referencing 1A above in the comments. To go around the room, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Moving on to policy number 2, facilitate the siting of water-dependent uses and facilities on or adjacent to coastal waters. And there's a comment, Sue made a comment, I agree, at this point in time, the proposal includes no water-dependent uses.
Mm-hmm.
So going around the room on this one, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Moving on to policy 2A, develop new water-dependent uses along the Rondout Creek and Hudson River waterfronts. Again, noted in the comments at this point, the proposal includes no water-dependent uses. Any other comments from the team? No? Going around the room, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 2B, preserve existing water-dependent and water-enhanced uses. Just reading a comment.
I think this would go back to that same prior reference.
I agree.
Yeah,
Any comments from the commission?
that's good.
All right, so Sue, you're going to,
What was it, 1?
I think it's 1A.
Yeah.
So in the comments, we're referencing back to same comment from 1A, going around the team, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Going to 2C, adapt the Millen Street Cornell Steamship Company and other similar historic buildings for uses more appropriate to their waterfront location, not applicable. Policy 3, further develop the state's major ports of Albany, Buffalo, New York, Ogdensburg, and Oswego as centers of commerce and industry, and encourage the siting in these port areas, including those under the jurisdiction of the state, public authorities of land use, and the development which is essential to or in support of the waterborne transportation of cargo and people, not applicable. Policy 4, strengthen the economic base of smaller harbor areas by encouraging the development and enhancement of those traditional uses and activities which have provided such areas with their unique maritime identity.
I would concur with those notes.
All right, so there's a note in here about recommending that there should be an interpretive installation to engage and enhance the importance of the site through history. I also concur. Any comments, further comments from the commission? All right, I'm going to go around the rooms. Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 4A, encourage the development and expansion of the Trolley Museum, including rehabilitation of the old rail tracks from the Strand to Kingston Point.
I think just as a point of reference, there used to be tracks there that connected to the trolley, which were industrial tracks when they first came, but those tracks are long gone.
This was more of an aspiration, I think.
Yeah, aspiration. Yeah. Okay, why don't we just...
Well, all right. So Dean Barnes?
Do you want me to change the wording of it then? I mean, I kind of do. I mean, I can...
You could. I don't know. Does do we think it needs
I,
to?
I wrote as a goal to aspire to.
No, that's fine, you know, that what's past is past and this is going
Okay.
forward.
All right.
So Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 4B, support the continued growth of a maritime museum adjacent to the Rondout Creek and the lighthouse off Kingston Point as a valuable institution devoted to educating the public about the Hudson River and Kingston's historic harbor. I concur with that. Any other conversation from the commission? Okay, so Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 4C, promote private development of onshore facilities, including docks, to serve the Hudson River tour boat industry, not applicable. Policy 5, encourage the location of development in areas where public services and facilities essential to such development are adequate. So yeah, the existing services will be improved and extended to the interior of the site. Any comment? You concur, Michael De Pleur?
Well, no, I would concur with that.
Okay.
Comment first, I guess.
That's okay. Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Dean Barnes,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 5B, upgrade certain deficient infrastructure elements in the Rondout.
5A. Bonnie, 5A.
I'm sorry, did I jump ahead? Sorry. 5A, encourage development and adaptive reuse in the West Strand, Rondout Creek, and urban renewal areas where the infrastructure is adequate and underused. Any comments from the commission? Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 5B, upgrade certain deficient infrastructure elements in the Rondout, West Strand, and Punkhawkee, I butcher that every time, neighborhoods and along the Hudson River. Any comments from the commission?
No, I think we covered that under the other discussion. No point.
Agreed. So Kevin, we'll start with you. Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 6, expedite permit procedures in order to facilitate the siting of development activities at suitable locations, not applicable. Policy number 7, significant coastal fish and wildlife habitats as identified on the coastal area map.
One point of
sorry.
order on 6. I think the planning department had a comment there. Do you want to address that at all?
Let's see, it's not applicable, but it says the applicant has been criticized for working without appropriate permits or approvals in place. The practice must cease and appropriate process maintained. The city has made efforts to work with the applicant regardless. However, mutual respect is a must going forward. I'm sorry, I skipped that.
Sue, does staff have any comment on that at this point?
We have had discussions with the applicants. They have come out and said that, you know, that practice that they will work with the city going forward. So it's just an indication that, you know, to just reaffirm that position.
Okay, well, will the comments stay in when we're done with the consistent?
Yeah, the whole form.
All right, all your comments will stay in. You're
Yeah,
right.
unless you
Yeah,
change
that's-
them, yeah, they.
Right, okay.
Okay,
Okay, then I concur.
so should we round table this, Sue, even though,
Yes.
okay, Dean Barnes,
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Yep, concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy number 7, significant coastal fish and wildlife habitats as identified on the coastal area map. shall be protected, preserved, and where practical, restored so as to maintain their visibility as habitats, or viability as habitats. There has been public comment that by erecting long lanes of privacy fencing that wildlife movements are prohibited. Smaller openings can be established in a creative fashion to allow wildlife movement but maintain privacy.
I would concur with that.
I concur with that, yes, with that comment.
I have one other comment with that.
Yeah,
And
Kevin.
that has to do, it's like if we get at some point, we develop, the applicant develops more water-based uses, there are subaquatic vegetation beds off of the Brickyard,
Okay.
which which could be considered significant coastal fish and wildlife habitat. But they're not going into the Hudson River at this point, but I think I'd want to bring that up in the future if they do go to do that. And I think
Yeah, point of order, we've done a coastal consistency before on the Brickyard. Is
Yeah.
this just on the proposed additions tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, so the SAV beds would not be applicable at this point.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But I just wanted to throw that out so that we know that it's a thing. So I concur.
Okay, all right, so Kevin McAvoy concurs. Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael DePrior,
Sure.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 7A, the Rondout Creek habitat shall be protected, preserved, and practical restored so as to maintain its viability as a habitat. It's not applicable. 7B, the locally important habitat at Kingston Point Park, also known as KEA, shall be protected, preserved, and where practicable, restored so as to maintain its viability as a habitat. Noted that no potential impacts are anticipated as there is no work proposed in the waterway of the Hudson River. I concur to that. So I, Bonnie Holland, concur. Michael DePrior,
Sure.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
All right, policy 8. Protect fish and wildlife resources in the coastal area from the introduction of hazardous wastes and other pollutants which accumulate in the food chain or which cause significant sublethal or lethal effects on those resources. Not applicable. Policy number 9, expand recreational use of fish and wildlife resources in coastal areas by increasing access to existing resources, supplementing existing stocks, and developing new resources. Such efforts shall be made in a manner which ensures the protection of renewable fish and wildlife resources and considers other activities dependent on them. Not applicable. Policy 10, further develop commercial fin fish, shellfish, and crustacean resources in the coastal area by 1, encouraging the construction of new or improvement of existing onshore commercial fishing facilities, 2, increasing marketing of the state's seafood products, and 3, maintaining adequate stocks and expanding aquaculture facilities. Such efforts shall be made in a manner which ensures the protection of such renewable fish resources and considers other activities dependent on them. Not applicable. Policy 10A, encourage retail and wholesale fish marketing within the waterfront areas. Not applicable. Under flooding and erosion hazard policies, policy 11, flooding and erosion hazard policies, buildings, and other structures will be sited in the coastal area so as to minimize damage to property and the endangering of human lives caused by flooding and erosion. Current comment, structures which are located in the flood area are either already existing, are elevated, temporary, or movable. No permanent structures are proposed for the flood area. So I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Michael DelPrior.
Concur.
Policy 12.
One thing
I'm
with
sorry.
that though.
Go ahead.
Point of order is just to consider, Joe, you and Catherine, you may want to consider sea level rise going forward. What's that? So on to 12.
You want me to write that? Consideration should be Given.
To sea level rise.
Do we have to concur on the comment?
Yes.
Okay, concur.
All right, so a new comment is consideration should be given to future sea level rise. Kevin McAvoy, you concur. Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Michael DePriore.
Concur.
And I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 12, activities or development in the coastal area will be undertaken so as to minimize damage to natural resources and property from flooding and erosion by protecting natural protective features, including beaches, dunes, barrier islands, and bluffs. Primary dunes will be protected from all encroachments that could impair their natural protective capacity. Not applicable. Policy 13, the construction or reconstruction of erosion protection structures shall be undertaken only if they have reasonable probability of controlling erosion for at least 30 years as demonstrated in design and construction standards and or assured design maintenance or replacement programs. There's a current comment. There are no new bulkhead reconstruction measures which will be undertaken at this time. Protective fencing is planned and parking areas are intended to be porous for storm water purposes. Any other comments from the commission members? Going around the room, Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Michael DelPriore.
Concur.
And I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 13A, bulkheads shall be reconstructed along Rondout Creek, not applicable. Policy 14, activities and development including the construction or reconstruction of erosion protection structures shall be undertaken so that there will be no measurable increase in erosion or flooding at the site or such activities or development at other locations. So see number 13 above, same thing. No new bulkhead reconstruction measures will be undertaken at this time. Going around the room, Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Michael DePriore.
Concur.
And I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Policy 15, mining, excavation, or dredging in coastal waters shall not significantly interfere with the natural coastal processes which supply beach materials to land adjacent to such waters and shall be undertaken in a manner which will not cause an increase in erosion of such land. It's not applicable, no activity as part of projects. Policy 16, public funds shall only be used for erosion protective structures where necessary to protect human life and new development which requires a location within or adjacent to an erosion hazard area to be able to function for existing development and only where the public benefits outweigh the long-term and other costs, including the potential for increased erosion and adverse effects on natural protective features. It's not applicable. Policy 7.
Okay, all right. Yeah. That was an excellent reading, by the way, of something that was not applicable. God bless you.
Thank you. And I'm non-caffeinated. Policy 17. Whenever possible, use non-structural measures to minimize damage to natural resources and property from flooding and erosion. Such measures shall include 1, the setback of buildings and structures, 2, the planting of vegetation and installation of sand fencing and draining, 3, the reshaping of bluffs, and 4, the floodproofing of buildings or their elevation above the base flood level. Not applicable, reference policy 11.
Well, is it applicable if we reference policy 11? Think about that one.
Going up to policy 11 here. Policy 11 is flooding and erosion hazard policy, buildings and other structures will be cited in the coastal area. Go ahead, Sue.
I said not applicable and then reference, so it should not be not applicable. It should be reference.
It should be, got it, reference
That's
11.
all I was saying.
Thank you for the correction.
Okay.
So we're going to go around to concur to the reference of policy 11. Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Michael DePriore.
Concur.
And Bonnie Howland, I concur. Under general policy, policy 18. To safeguard the vital economic, social, and environmental interests of the state and its citizens, proposed major actions in the coastal area must give full consideration to those interests and to the safeguards which the state has established to protect valuable coastal resource areas. Current comment, no new construction of docking or any new major buildings along the waterfront. We should discuss the installation of privacy fencing and how it establishes a visual screen to the Hudson River from point along the EST.
That's the Empire State Trail.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Currently, there's not privacy fencing.
There is privacy fencing as part of their project along North Street, yes.
Okay.
I think the commission is supposed to consider the privacy fencing and alternatives, perhaps. Is that where we're going? Does anybody have an alternative?
We had spoken earlier about being creative with creating some openings for wildlife. This
Yeah.
might be a similar opportunity here.
Sometimes you can do that with plantings as well, where it creates a privacy thing. I mean, I don't know if they want to go for the, East Hampton look, but they do that with hedgerows in some places. Or if there's no discussion, we should probably just move forward.
Did say I have nothing to.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll take that out, that underlined part out.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh, it's that way. Okay.
So to note, leaving in the comment, no new construction of docking or any new major buildings along the waterfront.
I can take that out too and make it not applicable, or I can leave that in and you can vote.
Does anyone else in the commission? I have no comment.
No. Sue and Bonnie,
Yes.
I have, I want to know, do you have a quorum? I have to go pick up my son in about 10 minutes.
No, we will not.
You will not have a quorum. Okay. Then we have to continue.
Go through this.
Okay, let's just push on then real quick.
All right, so going around the room on this. Sorry, Mike, I'll go as fast as I can. Dean Barnes.
No, it's not that. I don't want you to do that. We
Well,
can't. Go.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael DePreur,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur.
All right.
Public access policies, policy 19, protect, maintain, and increase the levels of public access to public water-related recreation resources and facilities so that these resources and facilities may be fully utilized by all the public in accordance with reasonably anticipated public recreation needs and the protections of historic and natural resources. In providing such access, priority shall be given to the public beaches, boating facilities, fishing areas, and waterfront parks.
We may want to reference, what was it, 1A?
Yeah, I just put that, I typed that in. I figured that.
I agree. So in referencing 1A, Dean Barnes, Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael DePreur,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 19A, protect, maintain, and increase levels and types of access to Kingston Point Park and West Strand Plaza. Access will be developed between the site and Kingston Point Beach via the Empire State Trail. A secondary pathway is recommended long-term to provide the additional site access and alleviate traffic from North Street.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy, concur. Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Michael DelPriore.
Concur.
I also concur. Policy 19B, provide pedestrian access to the lighthouse at Kingston Point Park is not applicable. Policy 20, access to publicly owned foreshore and to the lands immediately adjacent to the foreshore or the water's edge that are publicly owned shall be provided, and it should be provided in such a manner compatible with adjoining uses. such land shall be retained in public ownership. Kingston.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Do you have a comment? further to this one?
Probably that 1A again, right? It references public access.
I
and the
agree.
Empire State Trail.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
All right, so Kevin, you concur to 1A?
Concur.
Okay, Dean Barnes,
I concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I too concur.
Do we need to make the same reference on 19A there? We're talking about access as well on that line.
Okay.
Yep.
Concur, yeah.
Oh,
Do I need to go back to that one for record, Sue?
yes.
So for 19A, referencing policy 1A from above, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 20A, provide opportunities for continuous public access along the Rondout Creek waterfront from West Strand to Kingston Point into the Hudson River from Kingston Point to the city lines. So see 16, 19, 19A, 19B, and 20.
And 1A.
And 1A.
I'm gonna add that in.
The ever popular 1A. Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Recreation policies, policy 21. Water dependent and water enhanced recreation shall be encouraged and facilitated and shall be given priority over non-water related uses along the coast, provided it is consistent with the preservation and enhancement of other coastal resources and takes into account the demand for such facilities. In facilitating such activities, priority shall be given to the areas where the recreation opportunities of the coast can be provided by new or existing public transportation services, and to those areas where the use of the shore is severely restricted by existing development. Current comment, the project as presently represented does not rely on water enhanced activity. It does, however, take advantage of the waterfront location to attract consumers to the site and therefore has a large degree of water dependency from an economic sense. Any other further comments from the commission?
No.
So as stands, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
I, Bonnie Howland, too concur. 21A, develop, expand, and improve existing public water dependent and enhanced recreation facilities along the Hudson River and Rondout Creek waterfronts. The project as proposed will provide for limited access to the Hudson Riverfront from a land point of view. No actual and water amenities are currently being proposed. Dean Barnes, you concur?
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 21B, encourage the development, expansion, and improvement of private water dependent and water enhanced recreation facilities along the Hudson River and Rondout Creek waterfronts. It says the proposal will definitely encourage more improvements to the Hudson waterfront and also the Rondout Creek by encouraging various venues and events to take place, which will attract individuals from various areas to the waterfront. Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur.
One question on
note?
21A.
Yes.
Should that reference 1A as well? That was the, because I think
Does that one?
the public access plan that's being reviewed does have one area where they come very close to the riverfront. They amended it to provide for public access very close to the riverfront.
The only thing I would say about that one
Yeah.
that's distinct from the others is
Yeah.
that it talks about improving existing public water dependent and enhanced recreation facilities.
That's what I was gonna
Okay,
ask.
okay, let's.
So I would leave it. Yeah,
Okay.
leave it off.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Move ahead.
All right, we are 23A, is that correct?
Now we're on 22.
Oh, I jumped way ahead. I'm sorry. 22. Development, when located to the shore, shall provide for water-related recreation as a multiple use whenever such recreational use is appropriate in light of reasonably anticipated demand for such activities and the primary purpose of the development. Not applicable. Historic and scenic policies. Policy 23. Protect, enhance, and restore structures, district areas, or sites that are significant in the history, architecture, archaeology, or culture of the state, as community, or the nation. Current note is the project as proposed is intended to protect several of the brick structures which were part of the original brickworks industry. These will be restored and repurposed as integral components to the overall plan. Although SHPO issued a statement in February, there is a question of the archaeological significance identified in UNS number 11140.001248, Diamond Site number 1.
That one was just recently picked up. Actually, Kevin pointed it out. It was work that was identified under the previous project, Sellers Cove. And the applicants had engaged Harkin Archaeological, and they've proposed a mitigation measure, which we are looking at right now. So I would just concur with mitigation as recommended by mode and approved by city.
Okay.
Essentially what they're going to do is to cover, it's up in the Lindsley Avenue parking lot. Instead of doing any excavation or digging or unearthing, they're going to put additional put fabric down and then put material on top. So there'll be no disturbance of anything below grade.
Okay. So when we go around, do we have to note concur with mitigation, or do we just concur with the note as current?
With the notice.
Okay. So Dean Barnes, Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael DePrior,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 23A. The character of the Rondout and the Chestnut Street Historic District shall be preserved while accommodating economic growth. Individual historic structures outside these districts shall be preserved in like manner. Not applicable. Scenic quality policies. Policy 24. Prevent impairment of scenic resources of statewide significance as identified on the coastal area map. Impairment shall include 1. The irreversible modification of geological forms, the destruction or removal of structures wherever the geologic forms, geologic or structures are significant to the scenic quality of an identified resource, and 2, the addition of structures which because of siting or scale will reduce identified views, or which because of scale, form, or materials will diminish the scenic quality of an identified resource. Not applicable. 25, protect, restore, and enhance natural and man-made resources which are not identified as being of statewide significance, but which contribute to the scenic quality of the coastal areas. Yes, Kevin?
I don't know if that's me or them. Me.
Current note, the proposal being submitted will provide for the enhancement of the scenic quality and protection of a site which is recognized as part of the river heritage. Recommend to add interpretive elements signage for the site.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy, Michael DePrior,
Concur.
Dean Barnes,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 25A. Protect, restore, and enhance scenic views or vistas of local importance, including view from Hasbrook Park, Kingston Point, Rondout 2 Lighthouse, Island Dock, and the Port Ewan Suspension Bridge. Possible enhancement opportunities exist by opening overlooks to the public, as well as a single location being proposed along the water. Any comments from the commission?
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy, Michael DelPriore,
Concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
I, Bonnie Howland, concur. 25B, protect, preserve, and enhance the general visual quality of the Hudson River and Rondout Creek waterfronts. Current comment, redevelopment of the site will not only improve the scenic quality of the location from the waterfront, but provide for additional public access to enjoy the vistas from onshore. Consideration of fencing alternatives should be recommended. And this is what we were kind of talking about before. Does anyone have a comment about an alternative potentially?
Well, I mentioned plantings earlier,
You
but I
did, yeah.
don't know if we want to get into a long discussion on that.
How about consideration of fencing alternatives such as landscaping might be utilized?
Discussed that landscaping could be considered as an alternative.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. My fingers aren't working tonight.
That's all right. So as she's typing it in, Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I, Bonnie Howland, concur. Under agricultural land policies.
Bonnie, I don't know that you need to read.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Can I group? So under agricultural land policies 26, energy and ice management policies 27 through 44, all are non-applicable.
There are some that have some notes.
Let's
So
see.
I would say through 30A, and then we'll just look at the notes on the others.
Okay, all right. So again, noting energy and ice management.
What I would suggest is they are marked non-applicable. So if anybody sees an issue why the notes are not, need to be recognized, I'll leave them all as non-applicable. You can take it as a group vote that way.
Yeah, there was just one question I had. I was asked by one of the CAC members to bring up policy 41 on air quality. What they're doing, what the CAC is doing is they're the air quality committee from the CAC with Bard College, they're putting air quality monitors around town. And if they do put one, say at Kingston Point Park in the future, and it triggers particulate matter, they'd they want to make sure that gets addressed. And that would probably have less to do with the did I freeze? Oh no.
We can hear you though. Your video froze, but we can hear you, Kevin.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
are. Okay.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, of course that would happen. Yeah. Right. I think where they were going with that was just to address the air quality monitors, have the applicant address the air quality monitors if it triggers an air quality monitor, particulate matter reading in the future. And
Okay. You said that's policy what?
41.
What did I do? Hang on, go back.
This is what happened to Steve Shaba.
What?
Post?
Funny, Kevin, is it we can hear you fine when your screen freezes. It doesn't somehow your audio seems to be.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was watching the Common Council last night, and that happened, to Steve Shaba. But in any event, yeah, if that's okay, add it in. If people don't want to concur, do what you have to do and move forward.
You said that's at 41. You said,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so let me get to that. Okay, how do you want me to word that, Kevin?
If air quality monitors are installed either in Kingston Point Park or in a nearby location, and it triggers a particulate matter reading, the applicant will mitigate.
Okay,
So Dean Barnes, you concur? Kevin McAvoy,
Concur.
Michael Del Priore,
Concur.
and I too, Bonnie Howland, concur.
we're almost there.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So Michael's only slightly late for picking up his son.
I used to walk home in the dark, 1.5 miles from work. He'll live for a few minutes.
Uphill both ways with no shoes in the snow,
Yeah.
right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so with the balance, then just let's move on. Balance if you have more. The balance of that, everyone is satisfied with the form as it's been completed. Okay. Then there is a resolution, a form of resolution, which I drafted and circulated. Bonnie, do you have that?
I do. I'm pulling them up on my screen so I can read them
Okay,
clearly. So do you need me to read this?
yes.
Okay. Resolution of the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission regarding the determination of the coastal consistency in accordance with city's adopted local waterfront revitalization program, also known as LWRP, for number 188 and number 200 North Street, Hutton Brickyard. Whereas HBYQOZB LLC, the applicant, has submitted an application and plans along with a completed coastal assessment form to the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission for additional hospitality, spa, and restaurant accommodations, as well as additional parking and a new entrance off Lindsley Avenue, the action. And whereas the project is located at 188 and 200 North Street, Kingston, New York, SBLs 56.28-3-23 and 48.84-1-4 respectively, and property that is located in the designated coastal zone boundary. And whereas the Heritage Area Commission serves as the Coastal Consistency Review Board for the City of Kingston, and whereas the action was recognized as Type 1 under SEQR, and the City of Kingston Planning Board, acting as lead agency, issued a determination of negative significance on March 30th, 2021. And whereas the Heritage Area Commission reviewed all pertinent documentation related to the submission and undertook a detailed review considering all policies as outlined in the LWRP, now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1. The City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission hereby adopts a finding of consistency with duly noted mitigating measures and recommendations to be incorporated as attached. Section 2. That this resolution shall take effect immediately.
One note that in the therefore be it resolved, it should be the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission. That's my typo.
Okay.
And the document that it gets attached is the document that we just
We
completed.
just went over. Understood.
So we go the motion.
I make a motion to move the resolution forward.
Motion by Dean Barnes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Michael De Priore. All in favor? I, Bonnie Howland. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy. Mike, there was a thumbs up from Kevin. Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We good to go, Sue?
Motion carries. We're done.
Motion carries.
Mikey, you're free to go.
Oh, okay. Oh, I might want him waiting a little longer. This is enough for him.
Well, we have 2 more coastal consistencies. I don't know how long
Oh,
you-
well then, I'll tell him to have breakfast.
Yeah, we'll be here till breakfast, Mike. You don't have to worry. You can go pick them up, come back, and we'll still be here.
I'll tell you what, if it's okay, I'm gonna leave. I'll go get your kid.
Go.
Motion to adjourn.
No.
Oh, we've got- All right, thank you, Bonnie, very much.
My pleasure.
We have 2 more coastal consistency determinations to do, but these are a little simpler and I hope a lot quicker.
Yep.
The first one I want to do, Sue, is the paving project at Block Park. Did everyone get that?
Mhm.
Okay. So with your, I'm going to have Sue describe the project in general, basically, but with the consent of the other commissioners, what I propose is that we just go over the policy objectives that have been deemed applicable. We'll note the ones that are not applicable, and I'll ask if everyone confers with that. So this has only got a limited number of them that have been deemed applicable. Is everyone okay with that approach? Okay, Sue, give us a little background or an overview of what this project is.
Okay, basically everybody is familiar with Block Park. This project is a very simple project. There are 3 parking lots there. They are not expanding the parking lots. All they are doing is putting a brand new surface down. So it'll be an asphalt surface. It'll be surface drained to the open areas, and they are putting striping and handicap parking in. No new lighting, no drainage structures, no other improvements. Very simple.
All right, without further ado, let's go through the coastal consistency form. Policy objective 1, restore, revitalize, and redevelop deteriorating and underutilized waterfront areas for commercial and industrial, cultural, recreational, and other compatible uses. The proposed comment here is as follows. Although there is direct waterfront, the project is located within close proximity to the Rondout Creek, and there are connections to the Rondout Business District. This project serves not only the immediate neighborhood, but the community as a whole with the organized sport. I'm Hayes Clement, I concur. Bonnie Howland?
I concur.
Dean Barnes?
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy?
Concur.
Policy objectives 1A, 1B, and 1C have been deemed not applicable. Everyone agree with that? Policy 1D, restore and revitalize the mixed residential and small scale and commercial character of the historic Rondout neighborhood. The proposed comment is as follows. Park enhancements will serve to revitalize the immediate neighborhood by promoting improved recreational access. I'm Hayes Clement, I concur. Bonnie Howland?
I concur.
Dean Barnes?
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy. Policy objectives 1E, 2, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3, 4, 4A, 4B, 4C have been deemed not applicable. Does anyone disagree with that? Policy objective 4C, promote private development of onshore facilities, including docks, to serve the Hudson River tour boat industry. That's also been deemed applicable and not applicable, sorry. Policy objective 5, encourage the location of development in areas where public services and facilities essential to such development are adequate. Proposed comment is as follows. Although not new development, the park improvements planned are designed so as to not require additional public services. I'm Hayes Clement, I concur. Bonnie Howland?
I concur.
Dean Barnes?
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 5A is deemed not applicable. Everyone okay with that? Policy objective 5B, upgrade upgrade certain deficient infrastructure elements in the Rondout, West Strand, and Pankaki neighborhoods and along the Hudson River. Proposed comment is the present parking areas are heavily used and in need of improvements that entail new surfaces and striping. The improvements also include handicap parking accommodations. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 6, policy objective 7, 7A, 7B, 8, 9, 10, and 10A have been deemed not applicable. Does anyone disagree with that? Policy objectives 11, flooding and erosion hazards policies, buildings and other structures will be sited in the coastal area so as to minimize damage to property and the endangering of human lives caused by flooding and erosions. Proposed comment here is as follows. The project does not involve new construction of any buildings. Paved areas will sheet drain to open land. No expansion of parking areas is proposed. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
Concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 12, 13, 13A, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 are all deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? Policy objective 19, protect, maintain, and increase the levels of public access to public water-related recreation resources and facilities so that these resources and facilities may be fully utilized by all the public in accordance with reasonably anticipated public recreation needs and the protection of historic and natural resources. In providing such access, priority shall be given to public beaches, boating facilities, fishing areas, and waterfront parks. The proposed comment here is as follows. Although not directly located along the waterfront of the Rondout Creek, Block Park is accessible by bike or foot from the Rondout and the Strand area. Park improvements will serve the existing user population, but may also serve to attract more use of the amenities which the park has to offer. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 19A, protect, maintain, and increase levels and types of access to Kingston Point Park and West Strand Plaza. The proposed comment here is to refer back to what the point made at policy objective 19. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 19B, 20, 20A, 21, 21A, 21B, 22, and 23 are deemed not applicable. Does anyone disagree with that? Policy objective 23A. The character of the Rondout and Chestnut Street Historic District shall be preserved while accommodating an economic growth. Individual historic structures outside these districts shall be preserved in like manner. The proposed comment here is as follows. Improvements at a park located adjacent to the Rondout Historic District will serve as attractions and promote growth and development, enhancing the character of the area. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 24, 25, 25A, 25B, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 30A, 30B, 31, and 32 are deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree? Policy objective 33. Best management practices will be used to ensure the control of stormwater runoff and combined sewer overflows draining into coastal waters. Proposed comment is there is no flow of stormwater runoff that will be directed or reached to the Rondout Creek. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland,
I concur.
Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 33A, 33B, 34, 34A, 35, 36, 36A, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44 are deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree? I see nobody. Therefore, going to read the resolution.
Yeah. Hang on.
All right. This is a proposed resolution of the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission regarding the determination of the coastal consistency in accordance with the city's adopted local waterfront revitalization program for the Block Park parking lot paving project. Whereas the City of Kingston has submitted a coastal assessment form and plans for improvements to repave the 3 parking areas presently located within Block Park, including striping and designation of ADA handicap parking, the action. And whereas the project is located at 208-304 Abeille Street, Kingston, New York, section block and lot number 56.50-6-12, and property that is located in the designated coastal zone boundary. And whereas the Heritage Area Commission serves as the Coastal Consistency Review Board for the City of Kingston, and whereas the Heritage Area Commission reviewed all pertinent documentation related to the submission and undertook a detailed review, considering all policies as outlined in the LWRP. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1, that the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission hereby adopts a finding of consistency with duly noted mitigating measures and recommendations to be incorporated as attached. Section 2, that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I hear a motion to pass that resolution?
One point of order for, I think there's a typo there.
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
same typo in the
So,
next
yeah,
one.
okay, yeah.
That's my
Right.
fault.
No big deal.
Where
Okay,
the,
I'll make the motion then.
Planning
As
board
amended.
resolutions that I
Yeah.
Okay, so where it says now therefore be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board, planning board should be HAC.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do I hear a motion to make that change?
Motion to accept as amended. Yes.
And I would second it. Now with the amended resolution, do I hear a motion to approve that?
Motion.
Kevin McAvoy makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second by Bonnie.
With the second. Any debate? Motion on the floor, any issues, any questions, any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Okay, now we go to Kingston Point Park infrastructure improvements. Anybody have any issue with dealing with this the same way? I'll ask for consent to skip over the non-applicable things unless somebody specifically wants to say something is applicable. Is that all right?
Right.
Sue, do you want to give us an overview of these?
Yeah, hang on a second. I had a real good little short synopsis. Let's go find it.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Purpose of Kingston Point Park infrastructure improvements project is to enhance the park with improvements, amenities in order to allow everyone in our community to have increased opportunities for increased physical activity and quality of life. Funded through a grant by New York State Office of Parks, Rec, and Historic Preservation. Construction elements of the project include the creation of a youth soccer field and parking lot improvements.
Any questions of Sue?
Mm.
Hearing none, I will begin the coastal consistency review. Development policy objective or development policies, policy objective 1, restore, revitalize, and redevelop deteriorating and underutilized waterfront areas for commercial and industrial, cultural, recreational, and other compatible uses. Our proposed comment here is as follows. The purpose of the project is to enhance the park with improved amenities in order to allow our community to enjoy opportunities for increased physical activity and quality of life. I'm Hayes Clement, I concur. Bonnie Howland,
I concur.
Dean Barnes,
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Yes, concur.
Policy objectives 1A and 1B have been deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? No one registers. Policy objective 1C, restore and revitalize the predominantly residential character of the historic Wilbur and Pankaki neighborhoods. Proposed comment here is as follows. Located on the fringe of the Pankaki neighborhood, this project provides direct enhancements and potential spin-off impacts for adjacent neighborhoods, in essence, real estate sales, small business, etc. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes. Dean Barnes.
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 1D is deemed not applicable. Everyone okay with that? Policy objective 1E, restore, revitalize, and redevelop the area between Kingston Point and East Strand along the Rondout Creek for commercial and recreational water-dependent and water-enhanced uses that will increase the public access to and public enjoyment of this area. The proposed comment here is as follows. See policy objective 1 above. The project improves an existing recreational facility considered to be a major anchor of public access to the Hudson River. The park is currently the location for parking for users of the state-developed Empire State Trail with a connecting link to the North Street segment where HBY is developing a project to the north of the park. Improvements to Kingston Point amenities will attract more visitors, and the EST will also bring visitors to the park. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that finding. Bonnie Howland.
Concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 2, facilitate the siting of water-dependent uses and facilities on or adjacent to coastal waters. The proposed comment here is as follows. The public park is presently the location of multiple water-dependent uses, beach, boat, ramp, kayaking, etc. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 2A, develop new water-dependent uses along the Rondout Creek and Hudson River waterfronts. Proposed comment here is this proposal enhances and builds upon strengthening all existing uses of the public park. I concur. Hayes Clement. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 2B, preserve existing water-dependent and water-enhanced uses. Proposed comment references to policy 2A above. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 2C, 3 have been deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? Policy objective 4, strengthen the economic base of smaller harbor areas by encouraging the development and enhancement of those traditional uses and activities which have provided such areas with their unique maritime identity. The proposed comment here is as follows. Although this project is not located in a smaller harbor, the impact and relevance of creating, improving, and enhancing amenities will certainly impact the Rondout Creek area, local marinas, restaurants, shops, etc. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland,
I concur.
Dean Barnes, Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 4A, 4B, 4C have been deemed not applicable. Does anyone disagree with that? No one does. Policy objective 5, encourage the location of development in areas where public services and facilities essential to such development are adequate. The proposed comment here is as follows. Creates a youth soccer field that currently does not exist, expands recreational and public access opportunities. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 5A, encourage development and adaptive reuse in the West Strand, Rondout Creek, and urban renewal areas where the infrastructure is adequate and underused. The proposed comment is as follows. Bringing people to Kingston's waterfront in new ways can serve to foster new growth and investment. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 5B, upgrade certain deficient infrastructure elements in the Rondout, West Strand, and Pankaki neighborhoods and along the Hudson River. The proposed comment is as follows. A new parking area will be established to replace existing tidal flooding of parking, providing better access along with improved safety and security. I'm Hayes Clement. I agree with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 6 has been deemed not applicable. Anybody disagree? No one does. Under fish and wildlife policies, policy objective 7, significant coastal fish and wildlife habitats as identified on the coastal area map shall be protected, preserved, and where practical, restored so as to maintain their viability as habitats. The proposed comment reads as follows. Although the EAF recognizes threatened and endangered species, the proposed work will not cause any harm or impact to those identified. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 7A has been deemed not applicable. Anybody disagree? No one does. Policy objective 7, excuse me. Policy objective 7B, the locally important habitat at Kingston Point Park, also known as KE4, shall be protected, preserved, and where practicable, restored so as to maintain its viability as a habitat. The proposed comment is as follows. No potential impacts are anticipated as there is no work proposed in the waterway of the Hudson River. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 8, 9, 10, 10A, and 11 have been deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree? No one does. Policy objective 12. Activities or development in the coastal area will be undertaken so as to minimize damage to natural resources and property from flooding and erosion by protecting natural protective features, including beaches, dunes, barrier islands, and bluffs. Primary dunes will be protected from all encroachments that could impair their natural protective capacity. The proposed comment on this policy objective is as follows. Best management practices will be required for erosion and sediment control during construction. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that public comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes. Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
I concur. I just wanted to add something to 12, and it might be applicable to 11 too, is I think there's some plans in the works also to address sea level rise at Kingston Point Park. That'll be a future, probably come here in the
It is,
future.
correct.
I think it's in the design stage. I'm not sure. I'd have to check the climate smart minutes. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Can we just add that to the comment? Just saying.
Yeah. Sure.
So best management practically required for erosion and sediment control during construction, as well as anticipated sea level change.
Right. It's just acknowledging that the city is acting on this already. I'm acknowledging that the city is in the process of acting on sea level rise at Kingston Point Park to address the flooding and erosion hazards.
Can you just add it to 12? So
Yeah, I'm putting in 11 too, right?
I think it does. Yeah, flooding and erosion hazards. Yeah.
So then you want to take that and
Copy and paste.
yeah, but what I'm saying.
well, I think on 12, it's just will be required during construction.
Doing that.
During. Oh, the comment is during construction. Yeah, the existing comment. This would be just more of a general comment.
Right.
Right. So I could just go a copy and paste, I think, would probably work.
But then you want to make it concur on 11, right? Not applicable.
Yeah, I think we should concur on 11. Exactly. Good. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Everybody okay with the way that's been amended?
Yes.
So now everyone is still concurring with 11 and 12 as amended.
Concur.
Hayes Clement, I am. Bonnie Howland,
I am, yes, I concur.
Dean Barnes, and Kevin McAvoy.
Yes, concur.
Policy objectives 13 and 13A have been deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? No one does. Policy objective 14, activities and development, including the construction or reconstruction of erosion protection structures, shall be undertaken so that there will be no measurable increase in erosion or flooding at the site of such activities or development at other locations. The proposed comment here would just reference policy objective 12. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes. Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 15, 16, 17 are all deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? No one does. Policy objective 18, to safeguard the vital economic, social, and environmental interest of the state and of its citizens, proposed major actions in the coastal area must give full consideration to those interests and to the safeguards which the state has established to protect valuable coastal resource areas. The proposed comment on this reads as follows. The park is considered a vital contributing component of the city and the state's coastal resources. The project will not harm the resources as they exist, but serves to enhance the park's presence and amenities. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes. Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 19, protect, maintain, and increase the levels of public access to public water-related recreation resources and facilities so that these resources and facilities may be fully utilized by all the public in accordance with reasonably anticipated public recreation needs and the protection of historic and natural resources. In providing such access, Priority shall be given to public beaches, boating facilities, fishing areas, and waterfront parks. The proposed comment here is as follows. This policy is the primary purpose of the project elements. Reference www.kingston-ny.gov / Kingston Point Park. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland,
I concur.
Dean Barnes, Kevin McAvoy.
I concur. I'll just add one comment to it, but we don't have to put it in. This isn't a comment on the LWRP. It's just that if you click the reference, you'll see what the amendment was, I believe on, I think it's phase 2, and it's the amendments that we had put on the what was it, policy somewhere back there. The flooding policies, 11 and 12.
Okay.
You know, for future reference, if anybody's interested. Okay.
Policy objective 19A, protect, maintain, and increase levels and types of access to Kingston Point Park and West Strand Plaza. The proposed comment here would just reference the one we just did, policy objective 19. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 19B is deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? No one disagrees. Policy objective 20, access to publicly owned foreshore and to the lands immediately adjacent to the foreshore or the water's edge that are publicly owned shall be provided, and it should be provided in such a manner compatible with adjoining uses. Such land shall be retained in public ownership. Proposed comment is as follows. Kingston Point Park is and will remain publicly owned and accessible. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 20A, provide opportunities for continuous public access along the Rondout Creek waterfront from West Strand to Kingston Point and to the Hudson River from Kingston Point to the city line. Our proposed comment here would reference policy objectives 19, 19A, 20, and 21. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that reference. Bonnie Howland.
Concur.
Dean Barnes. Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 21. Water dependent and water enhanced recreation shall be encouraged and facilitated and shall be given priority over non-water related uses along the coast, provided it is consistent with the preservation and enhancement of other coastal resources and takes into account the demand for such facilities. In facilitating such activities, priority shall be given to areas where the recreation opportunities of the coast can be provided by new or existing public transportation services, and to those areas where the use of the shore is severely restricted by existing development. The proposed comment on this policy is as follows. This policy is the primary purpose of the project elements, reference www.kingston-ny.gov / Kingston Point Park. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with this proposed comment. Bonnie Howland.
Concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 21A. Develop, expand, and improve existing public water dependent and enhanced recreation facilities along the Hudson River and Rondout Creek waterfront. The proposed comment is the same as the one before. This policy is the primary purpose of the project elements. Reference www.kingston-ny.gov / Kingston Point Park. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 21B has been deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? Nobody does. Policy objective 22. Development, when located to the shore, shall provide for water-related recreation as a multiple use whenever such recreational use is appropriate in light of reasonably anticipated demand for such activities and the primary purpose of the development. Again, our proposed comment here would be, this policy is the primary purpose of the project elements. Reference www.kingston-ny.gov/Kingston Point Park. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that. Dean Barnes.
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Policy objective 23, 23A, 24 are all deemed not applicable. Does anybody disagree with that? No one does. Policy objective 25, protect, restore, and enhance natural and man-made resources which are not identified as being of statewide significance, but which contribute to the scenic quality of the coastal area. The proposed comment here is as follows. The proposal being submitted will provide for the enhancement of the scenic quality and protection of a site which is recognized as part of the river heritage. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that proposed comment. Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Bonnie Howland.
Concur.
Policy objective 25A, protect, restore, and enhance scenic views or vistas of local importance, including the view from Hasbrook Park, Kingston Point, Rondout 2 Lighthouse, Island Dock, and the Port Ewan Suspension Bridge. The proposed comment here is simple, no impact on scenic views. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
I concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objective 25B, protect, preserve, and enhance the general visual quality of the Hudson River and Rondout Creek waterfront. The proposed comment reads, park improvements will not only improve the scenic quality of the location from the waterfront, but will provide for additional public access to enjoy the vistas from on shore. I'm Hayes Clement. I concur with that as our comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes.
Concur.
Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
Policy objectives 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 30A, 30B, and 31, 32, 33, 33A, 33B, 34, 34A, 35, 36, 36A, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43 are deemed not applicable with some comments on a few of them. Does everyone agree, concur with the finding that those are not applicable?
Yeah, not applicable, but do we want to include the comments?
Yeah, I think we should include the comments.
Okay.
But they're all not applicable.
Right, not applicable, concur. I'm
Yeah.
good.
All right, we got, nobody disagrees with that? Okay, we're good there. Policy objective 44, preserve and protect freshwater wetlands and preserve the benefits derived from these areas. The proposed comment here would be as follows. Existing wetlands are recognized and will be protected from all new construction of any amenity in accordance with all regulations and statutes. Design reviews are being undertaken with the New York State Department of Environmental Correction, UCOE, and New York State Department of State to ensure protection of these environmentally sensitive areas. I'm Hayes Clement. I can concur with making that our comment. Bonnie Howland.
I concur.
Dean Barnes. Kevin McAvoy.
Concur.
All right.
You're done.
I'm going to read. I'm going to read a resolution.
Have I worn you down yet?
All right, and now I will correct the language about the planning board in this one
Yes, thank you.
on the reading. So just make sure it's reflected in the printed
Yep,
thing.
I will.
All right, this is a proposed resolution of the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission regarding the determination of the coastal consistency in accordance with the city's adopted local waterfront revitalization program for Kingston Point Park Infrastructure Improvements Project. And it reads as follows. Whereas the City of Kingston has submitted a coastal assessment form and plans for improvements to enhance Kingston Point Park with improved amenities in order to allow everyone in our community to have increased opportunities for increased physical activity and quality of life. And whereas the project is located at 53 and 66-106 Delaware Avenue, Kingston, New York, section block and lot numbers 56.36-1-34 and 57.21-1-14 respectively, and property that is located in the designated coastal zone boundary. And whereas the Heritage Area Commission serves as the Coastal Consistency Review Board for the City of Kingston, and whereas the Heritage Area Commission reviewed all pertinent documentation related to the submission and undertook a detailed review, considering all policies as outlined in the LWRP, now therefore be it resolved by the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission as follows. Section 1, that the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission hereby adopts a finding of consistency with duly noted mitigating measures and recommendations to be incorporated as attached. And Section 2, that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I hear a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Do I hear a second?
And Dean Barnes.
Second by Dean Barnes. There's a duly made and seconded motion on the floor. Any further debate on this? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you for hanging in there until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. I apologize for adding those last two on, but they're time sensitive because they are involved.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, that was good.
Anything else, Sue?
I have nothing else except happy holiday.
Yeah, happy Easter, everybody.
Everyone, yes. Thank you again. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
By Kevin
Second.
McAvoy, second by Bonnie Howland. I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye, aye.
Thank you, guys.
All
We
right.
are
Everybody.
adjourned. Happy Easter.
Hi, everybody.
Safe home soon.
Bye. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Good night.